Hi friends, welcome to my virtual kitchen. I can't wait to get cooking with you, so go grab your apron. Today I'm so excited to share with you the recipe for crack cookies. It's probably one of the most requested recipes. Crack cookies are actually called Korova Cookies in Dorie Greenspan's cookbook, Paris Sweets. So let's get cooking. The first thing you'll need is about 5½ ounces of butter, preferably a European style butter. You need your butter to be at room temperature. If your butter is already cold, you can cut it up into slices to help it to come to room temperature more quickly. So into a mixing bowl that goes. You'll also need 2/3 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And you're going to mix these on medium or medium-high speed for probably about 3 to 5 minutes because you want it to be really light and fluffy. You're essentially mixing air into your butter and sugar. You can see at about the 2 or 3 minute mark that the color and texture of the dough really starts to change. It becomes a lot lighter and much more fluffy. So at about 2 or 3 minutes, stop your mixing and you're going to add your vanilla extract and your salt. So I like to use a Madagascar bourbon vanilla extract. And for the salt, I like to use fleur de sel. It's a special sea salt from France and it's so delicious. I call it the caviar of sea salt. So you need to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and ½ teaspoon of fleur de sel. Then continue mixing for about a minute longer. So while this is mixing, or once it's done, you need to start on your dry ingredients. So in a separate bowl, you'll combine 1 1/4 cups of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then you'll need to add in your cocoa powder. Now, the cocoa powder is one of the things that makes or breaks this recipe. I like to use Valrhona cocoa powder, which I find at De Laurenti, a little shop at the Pike Place Market. It's a little bit more expensive, but let me show you the difference here. On this side is the Valrhona cocoa powder, and on this side is the regular cocoa powder you'd find in most grocery stores. Just looking at the colors, you can completely see how much richer and darker the chocolate is going to be over here on the Valrhona side. All you need is 1/3 cup of the Valrhona cocoa powder, and that goes into your dry ingredients, and then you can mix those up. Okay, now the other thing you'll need to do before you start mixing everything together is to get your chopped chocolate prepared. So we have a great resource around Seattle. Theo chocolate is absolutely delicious. You need about 5 ounces of a good quality dark chocolate. So that's about 1.5 bars of Theo chocolate bars. So I'm going to chop these up as finely as possible and get them all ready to mix in. So now that you have your butter and sugar mixture, your dry mix, and your chopped chocolate, you're ready to start combining them all together. Now the trick to getting a great texture in these crack cookies is to do as little mixing as possible after you add the flour. So I'm going to add the flour mixture all in one lump sum, and then I'll mix it just a few times in low speed until it just starts to come together. Be careful that you don't get sprayed by flour and chocolate. That looks pretty good. There are still some non-chocolatey parts here, but they'll all get mixed in once I do the chopped chocolate by hand. You know, I eat cookie dough all the time, but one of the bonuses for these crack cookies is that there are no eggs in the cookie dough, so really I could just eat the whole thing and be okay, right? Now, crack cookies are essentially refrigerator cookies, or I've heard them called icebox cookies before. They do need to be refrigerated for 2 hours. So in order to wrap them, I need my cling wrap. I also like to use paper towel tubes. You just cut the center, and then it becomes a really nice carton to hold your cookie dough log. And it's really up to you what size you want your cookies to be. I'll fold the saran wrap over, and I have my log. My cookie dough log is ready to go into the refrigerator for about 2 hours. Alright, my cookie dough is all ready to slice up. I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees and I've lined my baking sheet with a silpat so that the cookies won't stick. Then all I need to do is cut up my cookie dough log into pieces that are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. Just put the cookies on the cookie sheet, nice little rows, and then finish by sprinkling a little bit of fleur-de-sel on the tops of all of the cookies. It just gives them a little extra zing in your mouth. Maybe it makes them more addicting. The cookies bake for about 12 minutes, no more, no less. Pull them out of the oven, they'll look a little bit underdone. Just let them cool on the cookie sheet for a couple of minutes and then transfer them to your cooling rack. They'll set up just fine. And here they are, fresh out of the oven. Oh, I want to eat them now. That deep dark chocolate and that little bite of sea salt, it doesn't get much better than this. The recipe for crack cookies came from Dorie Greenspan's book, Paris Sweets. They're called Korova Cookies in here. You all nicknamed them crack cookies.